She grinned slyly as she signed the paperwork for her new car, then looked at me and said, "Appreciate it, but I'm done with you now." I just gave a small nod. Weeks later, when the repossession truck rolled into her driveway, her face turned ashen. Some moments in life are etched in your memory like a snapshot. For me, it's the image of my ex-girlfriend, Sarah, sitting in the dealership's finance office, pen in hand, signing a document. The room smelled of stale coffee and synthetic air freshener. She glanced up at me, still holding the pen, a smug little smile curling her lips. "Appreciate it," she said, her voice loud, almost gloating. "Now I'm done with you." The finance manager, a weary man named Carl, kept his eyes on his desk, acting like he didn't hear her. But I did. Her words hit like a clear chime in a silent space. They marked the end of our 2-year relationship. I didn't respond. I just nodded, a slow, intentional movement. She probably thought I'd be wounded, that I'd protest. But in that moment, all the pain I might have felt was consumed by a sharp, icy clarity. To her, I wasn't a partner. I was a means to an end, a tool to unlock the final door she wanted opened. Let me rewind. Sarah's life was a series of constant little disasters. Her biggest, most persistent issue was her car, a beat-up old junker that was always breaking down, always draining money she didn't have. For months, it was all she talked about. How she was late for work again because the car wouldn't start. How she missed a friend's event because she didn't trust it on the freeway. How a reliable car would fix all her problems. The catch? Her credit was a mess. Years of poor choices and treating bills like optional chores had left her with a score that made banks scoff. I, on the other hand, have always been cautious with my finances. My credit is stellar. About 3 months ago, Sarah suggested I co-sign for a car loan. I was reluctant at first. I knew co-signing was a big gamble, but she was persistent. She sobbed, insisted I was her only hope, that this one thing would get her life on track. She said it would improve our lives, reduce her stress, and let us move forward together. Like an idiot, I started to buy into it. I thought maybe she's right. Maybe this is the boost she needs. I cared for her and wanted her to be happy, so I agreed. But I set one clear condition. I told her I'll co-sign the loan and my name will be on it, but the car will be in your name. You'll be responsible for the payments. You'll send me the payment amount 5 days before it's due each month, and I'll pay the bank from my account to ensure it's on time and my credit stays safe. She agreed immediately. Of course, I'd never ruin your credit. This is my responsibility. So we spent a few weekends car shopping. She didn't want a practical, used compact. She had her heart set on a brand new, fully loaded SUV. White with a massive sunroof and every fancy feature. It was far more car than she needed, with a hefty monthly payment. I tried to nudge her toward something more affordable, but she threw a tantrum in the middle of a dealership, accusing me of denying her nice things. So I caved. That was my second mistake, which brings us back to that moment in the finance office. We found the exact SUV she wanted. My credit score worked its charm, and the loan was approved in minutes. They slid the paperwork across the desk. I signed first as the co-signer, then she signed. And as the ink dried, she looked at me and delivered that line. "Appreciate it. Now I'm done with you." It was the grin that sealed it. The smug, triumphant glint on her face. In that moment, everything clicked. The tearful pleas, the pressure, the scene in the showroom, it was all a calculated scheme. The goal was never to better our lives. The goal was this car. And I was just the last hurdle. I just nodded. I stood, pushed in my chair, and walked out of the office. Carl, the finance guy, called after me. "Sir, we need one more signature." I kept walking. I heard Sarah say, "Don't worry, he's just being dramatic." I left the dealership, got into my own car, and drove off. She had the keys to her new SUV. She could figure out how to get it home. My phone buzzed minutes later. It was her. I let it go to voicemail. The message was furious. "Where are you? I'm stuck here. Are you really trying to ruin this for me?" I didn't reply. I drove straight to our shared apartment. I walked in and immediately went to the bedroom to pack a bag, all my clothes, toiletries, and laptop. I wasn't staying another night, but I wasn't just leaving either. The lease was in my name. She was only an occupant. When she finally got home hours later in her shiny new SUV, she was livid. She stormed in, ready for a showdown. "What's wrong with you? You left me there. You almost wrecked the whole deal." I was on the couch, my bag at my feet. I looked at her. "I heard what you said in the office, Sarah." Her anger wavered for a second. "I was kidding. It was a joke. You're overreacting." "No," I said, standing. "You weren't kidding. You meant it. You got what you wanted. So congratulations." I grabbed my bag. "I'm staying at my parents' for a few days. You have 30 days to pack your stuff and leave my apartment. I'll send you formal notice." Her face paled. This wasn't in her script. What? You're dumping me over a joke and kicking me out. I'm not dumping you, I said, heading for the door. You already did that at the dealership. You just didn't tell me. Now you have the car you wanted, a fresh start. You just need a new place to park it. I walked out and shut the door. I heard her start to yell, but I kept going. A plan was already forming in my mind. A calm, logical, ruthless plan. The bank might think I was liable for that loan, but I was about to make it crystal clear who was truly accountable. Update 1. It's been just over a month. The 30-day notice for Sarah to leave my apartment expired last week. It's been a lesson in arrogance, denial, and sheer foolishness. After I left that first night, the texts and calls were relentless. First, rage. Then fake apologies and the predictable, I didn't mean it, I was just excited. When that failed, she tried guilt-tripping me. You're throwing away 2 years over one comment. I ignored it all. I blocked her number. Naturally, her friends and family started messaging me. Her mom called, accusing me of being cold and cruel. Sarah loves that apartment, she said, and she needs stability with that big car payment. The irony was lost on her. I calmly explained that the lease was in my name and my decision was final. As expected, Sarah ignored the 30-day notice. She thought I was bluffing. On day 31, my lawyer, hired the day after the dealership fiasco, filed for a formal eviction. The process is slow but certain. But the real show, the one I'd been waiting for, has been the car. Sarah's been living her dream life, at least online. Her social media is flooded with photos of the SUV. The SUV at the beach, the SUV outside fancy restaurants, her and her friends on road trips in the SUV. She even named it Snowflake. She was desperate to project the image of a successful, independent woman who had it all. The car wasn't just a car. It was her identity. What she didn't know was that trouble was brewing. The first car payment was due on the 15th last month. Per our now broken agreement, she was supposed to send me the money 5 days earlier. Of course, the 10th passed with no transfer. I wasn't shocked. On the 15th, I got an automated bank alert. Your auto loan payment of $580 is due today. I read it and deleted it. I didn't pay. A few days later, the calls began, first to my phone. It was the bank's collections team. I answered. The caller was courteous but stern. Mr. Davis, we're contacting you about your overdue auto loan. I responded calmly. I understand, I said. I'm the cosigner. The primary user is my ex-girlfriend, Sarah Thompson. She has the car. Our verbal agreement was that she'd make all payments. She hasn't. You'll need to contact her for the payment. There was a pause. Sir, as the cosigner, you're equally liable for the debt. I'm aware of my legal responsibility, I said. I'm also aware that your first step should be to collect from the person with the asset. Her contact details are on the loan application. I won't be making this payment. I knew this would dent my credit. I'd done the math. A temporary drop, maybe 50 or 60 points. It's not ideal. But it was a price I was willing to pay to escape a 5-year, $35,000 loan tied to someone who disrespected me. My credit can handle the hit and bounce back. Hers can't. Days later, I got an angry text from an unknown number. It was Sarah. Why is the bank hounding me? They say the payment's late. You were supposed to pay it. You're ruining my credit. I replied with a screenshot of her comment on a recent SUV photo. Someone had asked, how do you afford that car? She'd answered, hard work and running my own show, girl. Below the screenshot, I wrote one line. Hard work means paying your bills. This is on you now. Don't contact me again. I blocked the number. Now the loan is over 30 days late. Late fees are stacking up. The bank's calling her constantly. I know because her mom called me again, this time yelling. You're a monster. You're doing this to hurt her. Her credit's being trashed. She has a simple fix, I said calmly. Pay the bill or return the car to the dealership. But she wants the car and expects me to pay for it. That's not happening. She said she didn't need me anymore. That includes my money and my credit score. She's cornered. She can't afford the payment. She won't give up the car. And every day the consequences grow worse. The bank sent the first official warning letter. The next one will mention repossession. I'm just waiting. Final update. It's been 3 months. I'm officially free. The drama with Sarah and her beloved SUV has ended in a dramatic, very public finale. After my last update, things spiraled fast. The loan hit 60 days past due. The bank stopped with polite calls. They sent certified letters to both of us. The letters warned that if the full overdue amount wasn't paid immediately, they'd start repossession. I, of course, did nothing. I forwarded my letter to my lawyer to keep him updated. Sarah, meanwhile, was unraveling. The eviction from my apartment was finalized. She moved back to her parents' house. Her mom had to co-sign for a storage unit for all the furniture she'd bought for my place. The independent, successful image she pushed online was pure fiction. In reality, she was broke, living with her parents, and about to lose the one thing she thought defined her success. She tried a few desperate tactics. She had a lawyer, likely paid for by her dad, send a letter to my lawyer demanding I either start paying the car loan or give her $10,000 for damages and to take over the loan. My lawyer's response was concise. It included a copy of the loan agreement listing her as the primary borrower and a polite suggestion that her lawyer's time would be better spent advising her to sell the vehicle to settle the loan before repossession. Then came the moment I'd been waiting for. I knew she was at her parents' suburban home. Last Saturday, my friend Mike, who lives nearby, texted me. "Dude, you won't believe this. I'm at a barbecue across the street from Sarah's parents' place. A tow truck just showed up." He sent a photo. It wasn't a regular tow truck. It was a flatbed from a repossession company. Mike gave me a play-by-play via text. The repo man knocked on the door. Sarah's dad answered. There was a heated exchange on the porch. Soon, Sarah came out. Mike's text. "She's freaking out, yelling at the guy. Now her mom's out there, crying." The repo man was professional. He didn't argue. He just stood with his clipboard, occasionally gesturing at the white SUV in their driveway. Then the best part. Mike's text. "OMG, she just looked down the street and saw us watching from the backyard. Her face, man, she knows people are witnessing this." The public humiliation was the final blow. She couldn't spin it. She couldn't lie her way out. There in the bright Saturday sunlight, in front of neighbors and strangers at a barbecue, her prized possession, her symbol of freedom, was being hooked up to be towed away. Her face, Mike said, went from furious red to ghostly white with shock and embarrassment. The repo man loaded the SUV onto the flatbed, secured it, and drove off. Just like that, Snowflake was gone. An hour later, my phone rang. It was Sarah from a blocked number. She wasn't yelling this time. She was sobbing, a broken, defeated sound. "They took it," she cried. "They took my car." I stayed silent for a moment. Then I said, "I know. You did this," she accused, her voice choked with tears. "You could have stopped it. You ruined my life." "No, Sarah," I said, my voice steady. "I didn't do this. You did. You did this in the finance office when you looked at me and said you were done with me. I just chose to believe you. You wanted independence. This is what it looks like. It means paying for your own things." She tried to say something, but I cut her off. "You're right about one thing. You don't need me anymore. And now I don't have a $35,000 loan tying me to you, so I don't need you either. We're done." I hung up and blocked the number. The aftermath has been huge for her. She's now liable for the difference between what the car sells for at auction and the remaining loan balance, which will be thousands. Her credit is so wrecked, it'll take years to recover if she ever does. She has no car, a pile of debt, and is back in her childhood bedroom. My credit took the hit I expected. It's already rebounding. It was a calculated cost. A few $100 in lawyer fees and a temporary credit dip was the price I paid to cut a financial and emotional poison out of my life. It was the best deal I ever made. She thought the car was her victory. She didn't see it was tied to a bomb that would explode in her face. She got her independence and it left her with nothing, and I'm finally free.